Hey everybody, welcome back to Roadside Nuggets. My name is George. How has everyone been doing out there? I was hoping to do something a little bit different today, but it looked like it didn't add up. So we're gonna do it tomorrow. Um, but yeah, plans change all the time. So definitely, just talking with the angels real quick before starting the stream. Um, there was a point that he wanted to make collectively with, just basically everything that's going on with the collective expansion. Okay, there's so many different multifodes to the process we're going under. With the physical body changing, with our consciousness changing, our thoughts, our behaviors, the emotions coming up, the things that are clashing on the surface in our life that we're living, everything is changing. Everything is shifting and moving around. And for some of the people that have had like the deepest belief systems and the control and have told themselves that they are the most set for life, they're having the worst moments in these times because everything is subject to change. Everything. And I would say specifically, it's definitely with how humanity is so individualized in so many ways. People want a different heaven. They want a different successful life. Everyone's perspective of what that life will look like always has some kind of diminished poverty in it, has some kind of depletion in it somewhere where you feel like you've made it. You feel like you've risen up above so much. You've fought through all the battles and you finally won. It's like that. The energy, the persona of it still speaks of misery, of pain and suffering. It's like no way you put it. And our concept right now, in the collective of billions of people on this planet, no way they put it, can they actually have a pure, clean vision of a 5D new reality Earth where not just themselves are in the highest bliss and joy and everything, but however everybody else is also at the same time. That's very hard for people to include everybody at some point because they're still blaming the rest of the world for their problems. They still think there's bad people and there's good people. There's some countries are not good, some countries are, and it's like, no. These are elementary, dysfunctions. Literally, they're elementary dysfunctions. They are things that we have grown up with, things that we have lived our whole life with. They are things as old as, fairy story time books themselves. I was going to say fable books, They're like the oldest things that like tell nursery rhymes and like the old do's and don'ts and taboos and scary stories and all these different things that we tell ourselves and innocently we think, but no, it has detriment. We create our life off of that, our rules, our laws, our regulations, policies, the things to be safe from, the things that we shouldn't do because this can do that. Again, it's all fear. It's all attachment. It's all trying to be ulterior motive and premeditative. Those things don't allow you to be present. They don't allow you to appreciate the present moment experience and be grateful for it or even get a lot out of it to learn and grow because you're still worried about everything outside the present moment. Everything that can happen, all the fears, all the things that don't look good or that you're not familiar with. They look scary. They look out of the norm, uncertain, creating anxiety, anticipation, panic. These things don't allow you to fully be immersed in the experience that's happening every moment to you regardless. You see, the present moment reality is always moving. It's always happening in every moment. Now, we are as a human race, we're not present. Collectively, 8 billion people as a whole race, as one, we are not a collective present race right now, which has allowed a lot of things to take place. Everyone's aware. There's a lot of things that we've disclosed throughout the year in the beginning, and last year, the year before. There's so many things that Mom talked about that she had her "I told you so" buttons, and she was very clear with everyone. These are the moments to go the deepest you can go, to reflect as much as you can, and to get as much crap out as you can, because it's all going. What are you really trying to hide? What are you really trying to stall time for? What are you really trying to well, I'll put this in the back burner and I'll get everything else out the way and give this a few more moments and then I'll deal with it later. It's like, no, do it now. If it's an issue, if it's something popping up, if it's something affecting you, then do it now. Focus on it now. Come up with a process, a solution for it now. Don't sit there and sabotage yourself and make yourself deal with it later. It's more work. And then you carry it around as a burden. There's more stuff on your back, right? There's a lot of things how we've dealt with ourselves our whole life. A lot of things of, how we've just managed our relationships with people, our friends, our family, our special significant others, and just how we kind of as an individual still trying to figure our own self out, not fully being fully sane, and then still interacting and involving yourself with that kind of energy, right? It's going to change you. Anything that's outside that box, anything that's outside of those limitations that you've told yourself that you've, basically have set for the rest of your life. There's so many different omens and different scenarios that we've told ourselves are just part of our reality, part of human suffering, and that those will always be that way. And when instead of finding a solution for it, we end up just justifying. We find an excuse for why the world's suffering. We find an excuse for why children are found in the tunnel. We find an excuse for why we are injecting certain things in our physical bodies that are not at all intending to help us in any way. They're meant to cause more problems. They're meant to cause a layer catalyst of more issues that's going to pull you further away from yourself and love, to detach you further from your own physical body senses, what's going on inside you that God's doing, and just completely disassociate you. That's what the world's built off. It's what it's designed to do. It wasn't created from the very get-go to provide you happiness or joy. The Matrix, not a single part of that was intended for that purpose for you. And humanity's finding out. In so many different ways, on so many different levels, we have waves waking up. And this is going to be the catalyst that people ask for, is to be so deeply disappointed in their expectations of what they thought, of what they believed in, and what they told themselves and each other, and just bit the bullet on. Seeing all these different signs, whistleblowers, all these things coming out, being revealed, disclosure, and they still want to deny. They still want to bypass. Like, no, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. It's worse. It's way, way worse. That's the problem. The fact that these things that are being revealed and being shown and expressed and coming out now, humanity's disbelief in that, it's worse. There is so much more. It goes way deeper than that. So if the surface of these things, as it's starting to shift and move, if that's going to scare the collective that much to where they're just going to back up and be like, whoa, I don't know about this. Again, that resistance is going to create a more intense turbulence to kick up. You can be bouncing around different walls because you're just not willing to let go and open up to what's not familiar. The great unknown, right? There is no way in any one of our lives that we can say that we learned it all, we understand it all, we know exactly 100% everything that's going on. We don't. Why? Most of the people never met mom, one. Nobody's been living in the heart their whole life. No one's walked that road. So their experiences and what they've manifested for themselves, they have no place in saying, well, it is what it is. No. There's a whole trail of bullshit that we can walk around just creating for ourselves, and the quickest way to stop it, to flip it and turn it back around into alignment with love, is to face that head on. Is to correct it with your choice. Your choices led you this far. It got you to this point. It created the mess you have. So it's your choice that's going to clean it up. It's your choice that's going to flip it back to love and move it back into alignment. It's your choice. No one's going to save you in the mess that you created for yourself, because that's the lesson you asked for, right? And I was expressing this, I think this on the session earlier today. And it's like everything is a process. We say this all the time. And it's like a wave, like everything is in motion. Energy is always in motion. And so when you go into a frequency, when you go into like transmitting any type of frequency it is, doesn't matter. You're literally on this like kind of roller coaster. And the humanity, we fluctuate. Humanity is not able to stay in a high vibration frequency 100% of the time, every moment. That's part of the learning, the process. So as we learn that for ourselves, we're also going through the spectrum. Everything in between all these different frequencies we're dipping into or moving up into, right? And as you experience the contrast of that, moving up and down in vibration and frequency and experiencing how that feels, what that does for you, what that affects in your physical body, your mood, your production, everything that you can do, all that. Intelligence, everything, all the way to the very top. It affects everything. And the same amount of energy you put into getting to a certain frequency is the same amount of energy you have to put back in to move out of that frequency. So if you go into lower frequency, say like you go dip, lower frequency, you have to apply the same amount of energy of work to move out of where that frequency is back up to a higher frequency where you were. It requires work. People like to do this panic, meltdown thing where they push so hard into a frequency and then they just KO. They flatline. They're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's giving up. It's like, no, that's the intensity you're asking for, because you're getting to a point where you're gonna realize this frequency doesn't feel good anymore. This frequency is not supporting me. It's not benefiting me. It's not helping me get to a higher place. It's affecting my ability to produce things, to push energy, to move. When you realize that it's your energy, your thoughts, your frequencies you're pulling in, they're a sabotage. It's getting in your way. Well, of course, the highest choice would be to stop doing it, right? You have to get to that point consciously to register that in your brain, like, all right, this is no longer highest. So how many times am I going to keep doing it before I stop doing it, right? It's like the redundancy that you have to get so tired and exhausted and just over it before you finally say, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. And you walk away. You decide to apply a different process because this is taking your joy. This is stopping you from pushing. This is stopping you from moving higher and expanding. This is a internal process for everyone that where we learn more about integrity, when we learn more about efficiency and intention, and how many times we're going to go through the same process instead of just doing it the highest way the first time, clearing that and realizing how much easier it is, how much more flowy it is. It's so much more of an enjoyable experience, because when you have to go through the same process again and again and again, because you're doing it half-assed, you're going through it bypassing certain things, you're not really fully reflecting, you're just doing it just to do it. That's the minimum output. You're going to get that same kind of energy back. You want to act, like it's not that big of a deal, it's not a priority, okay, cool. That's the kind of energy you're going to manifest, where it's like, holy shit, this is a serious problem. Yeah, you won't look at that. You won't see that yourself, so therefore life, it has to create a situation where you can say, oh, holy crap, this is a problem, right? Because you're not going to escape the truth. You're not going to get out of it, right? And especially for the people who have watched, the live streams over the years and seeing everything that God went through. If God took on all of that, if she went through the worst of it, do you honestly think for a second that you're going to get a free ride pass, or it's going to be easy for any one of us on this planet? No. She did all the work, yes. However, there's a big part in us receiving that and moving up into that space. It's not going to be this grand dance, this parade, everyone's just cheering and everything like that. It's there's a lot of things to look at. Both with ourselves, with the cultures, with the races, all these stupid religions everyone's got going on, all these little groups and stuff that, well, what is it going to achieve? It leaves everybody else out. It's not focused on the planet. It's not focused on the collective experiences happening right now. There are all these little timelines that people are just trying to make it, just trying to compete with each other, and it's just, what is it going to serve at all? Is it going to build a bank account? Is it just going to make you happy? Is you going to be able to buy more groceries? Or is you going to have your thing, your title, your, it's when you get down to it, it's at the end of this, what do you hope to achieve with it? What's the goal? What's the main purpose we are arriving to that this is going to provide, right? And if it's just for you, it has nothing to do with anybody else on this planet. It has nothing to do with children or anybody. It's just for you. automatic self-importance, which is why it's not necessary, why it's not highest, why no matter how much energy you put into that, it's going to backfire at some point because it's moving into unity consciousness. It's about everyone making it. It's about everyone reaching happiness and joy. It's about everyone being stable, sufficient, abundant. So if what your dream, your goal, or what your wish that you think you have is, and that overrides everybody else in that experience, it does not provide that or help benefit or support that for the whole, no. Creation no longer supports it. Don't care how much you've invested into it, don't matter how much you've pushed for it, how much you've lived and breathed for it your whole life, creation doesn't care. God does not care. Because you obviously didn't care about the rest of the whole, so why should everyone else be focused on your self-important little goal that's just about you? You see, it's the same reflection. And God's sitting there like wondering is, okay, when are they going to catch on? You know, it's about everyone. As soon as you make it about everyone, then boom, that's how you do it, right? Because that's the way she designed the energies. There's many moments Mom expressed that, you know, the energies on the planet collectively, they only support that. The collective move back into unity consciousness and love-based vibration. So anything that's not a vibrational match to that no longer is supported by the collective energy on the planet right now. Meaning, you're a fish in a fish tank, and if it's not about the collective whole in that fish tank, nothing you are really doing is making a difference. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to amount to anything. You're just going to create more lessons till you realize that those tightly choked, controlled perspectives and choices in life that you want to go down, they're not going to provide what you think it is, right? There's another thing too, because humanity is lived in, you know, the 3D matrix. It's what the whole human society is based off of. You know, so if you tell this to people, they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because the whole human experience in 3D matrix is based off of that. What you can consume, what you can do, what you can be, and all these other things and standards and all this crap. So if they have to let it go and dissolve it and figure out a new process, a new way of living, is like, what do they actually have? It's completely unfamiliar because they depended so much on the system to tell them what was necessary, what was important, what to focus on, what to do, what was the best choice they could make. And so they've lost their voice. They lost, you know, their own, you know, sauce, basically, you know, their own mojo. And they just kind of plug themselves up to a mainframe that tells them, like, what the collective conformity is that day. And they just abide by it. They move with that, right? So, of course, there's got to be certain experiences that are going to create situations where you start to realize that the way the world's been going, it's not really your choice. You didn't really want to choose this. You don't really want to live in this mess. You don't really want to coexist with the dysfunction on this planet. None of this is really a very evolutionary, you know, process at all. It's a massive breakdown, dismantling of old shadows that we've lived under our whole, you know, for generations, centuries, right? So in doing this process, you know, we have to have new ideas that come from love, and come from support and nurturing, you know, the children, the women, the masculine on the planet, everybody. It has to include everybody. And it can't be like this segregated, you know, separated, blocked off, you know, walled thing where everything has a category, everything has, you know, requirements, and it's called crap. We're not trying to make everything unisex. That's the lower dysfunction. They're trying to just blend everything in and then eventually cancel it out. You won't even be able to recognize the difference from it after a while going into that dysfunction. That's why I remember I was at, I think, like, I can't remember what store I was at the day or two ago, and it was like this, it was razors by Bic, and it was Bic razors, and it was like, it said, it was like the first ever unisex razor from head to toe, but I can't remember what they called it, and it's just stupid. It's like literally them trying to, like, it was like the saying on the box was something about like the first ever like non-gender razor or something. It was just this dumb thing. It's like, why? Why do you need a razor that's non-gender? Why do you need a unisex anything? Why can't women have things that bring them joy? Why can't men have things that bring them joy? And why can't we just let go of all the requirements and belief systems and let that be whatever it is? Instead of trying to say, well, this is this and this is that. It's dumb. Automatically, before you even buy it, your joy is already gone. Because now you're conforming, you're accepting someone else's belief system, their control over something where it could be grander. It could have freaking colors and rainbows all over that razor, little emoji icons, all kinds of different shit on there. But they'll say no because it's unisex, so then we have to make it, for everybody, and everybody's, no, it's dumb. It doesn't make sense at all. There's men out there that love the color pink. Why can't they have a fucking pink razor, right? There's women out there that like really dark colors that they say are masculine colors. No, they're not masculine colors. Nobody owns anything. Everything is everything else. So this retarded sense of like trying to construct this box that doesn't exist and then trying to sell it to humanity, be like, well, this is the new thing, Everyone wants to be non-binary and all this. It does not make sense at all. You obviously weren't born that way. You weren't conceived that way. You didn't come out looking like that. So all the dysfunction and crap that you've done after that point, that was not God, okay? God didn't do that shit. She didn't say that. She never showed that dysfunction to you. So you really only have yourself to point the finger back at. And realize you've been making it extremely hard for yourself. You've been making this life of yours so hard to live by with these expectations and rules, these policies and regulations you follow, both the ones you create for yourself and then the ones that you abide by in workplaces and everywhere else you go in human life. At what point do you feel like you are just going to suffocate and die? Because I know I was in 3D. I felt like I was just suffocating all the time. Everything was just closing in and there was just nothing was you. There was no room for you because all this other regurgitated crap was already stuffed in your face. That's the only thing you had to really look at. And if you don't have that strong center, if you don't have a stable self, you're going to get pushed around with the collective energy and you're going to blend in to the conformity. Your thoughts are going to become the collective thoughts because you're not choosing you. You're not being stable in yourself. You're not allowing yourself to accept your energy. So therefore, what is your energy if you don't accept yours? It's going to be the collective energy, whatever it is in that moment. Like the weather that changes every day, that's what it's going to be like for you. Until you learn to grab your energy and make it centered and anchor it down, you are going to be a flag in the wind, blowing every which way that the collective energy blows that day, and that's going to be your experience. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a ride. And you're going to choose to realize it's like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I letting myself go through this? I got to get my power back. I got to pull my energy back and look at myself. Because I clearly don't have a trajectory at all. I'm just flowing around. There's no guidance. There's no compass. There's no intention at all. I'm just sucking air every day, hoping I'm going to make it. How are you supposed to be happy in that at all? How is that supposed to bring you joy at all, right? But we're expecting it just to fall out of the sky. We're expecting God just to show up and make miracles happen. And then we get to live the happily ever after. But then there's nothing that we're learning. We're not accepting the things that are right there in front of our face to teach us the hard lessons so we don't have to go through it again. We'd rather God just bypass all that and just get us out of the hole. We don't want to work anymore. We don't want to apply ourselves anymore. We wasted so much energy, invested so much of ourselves in the dysfunction, and got this deep in the hole. Now we don't want to work at it to get out. We want it just to be easy. We want someone just to pull us out. No. No. It's not going to be that way because if that happens for everyone, 8 billion people, if you look how dysfunctional this planet is and that happens for everybody, what does that teach humanity then? That you can go as far as you want into dysfunction and God will just come save you and then we'll just restart. We'll just play it all out again, huh? No. No, I tell you right now, well, God's not coming down to do this shit again. This team's not coming down to do this shit again. We are doing this now, the last time, and we're going to finish it, right? So therefore, humanity has to have their lessons. There is no other way. than to put humanity through the ringer again and again and again until they wake up with a nasty headache, probably. But they're going to be grateful that it's sooner than later. Because the later is just more pain and suffering. We don't have to go through if humanity gets the lessons now, right? So if mom's got to jack up the intensity and the pressure to really drive these points home so you can get it, it's all for the highest, right? Now, it may not be like that in your experience right now. It might seem like some shit. But that's, again, you got to roll with the punches and realize that you on some level obviously are asking for that level of intensity because that's how deep in it you are in that energy. And it takes that kind of equal force to really cause an upheaval. So you can look at you can see all the things start to move around like, whoa, like I haven't looked at that in a moment, years. Well, yeah, that's why you forgot about it. That's why you got so numb to it, because it's been festering the entire time. It never stopped. You just blocked it out. You bypassed. You went into denial. You were in fantasy. You were in disassociation. You have not been here, so of course you wouldn't be aware of it, right? And it takes those massive catalysts, those moments where you just come crashing, landing like into just the bottom, rock bottom, where you get so grounded and so clear, and it's a nasty wake up call, you know, where you can realize a lot of the crap you've been doing, you've known it for a moment. Who are you kidding? Mom can see everything. She's fully aware of what you're aware of. So if you've been aware of it and you've just been playing stupid, God knows that too. And she's got you checkmated, right? Because there's no getting off the hook. Even if it is like this big scary thing you just don't want to deal with, Mom knows. She understands. It still doesn't mean that you get to bypass it. It just doesn't mean that you get to move on into higher divinity with a lower dysfunction, because it's not you. And that's the ultimate goal and the point we're getting to, is it's not you. It's not us. This is not the reflection of humanity the way God created us. So there is no blame. There's no projection or attachment to it. It's just you got to get it out, though. You got to be real with yourself and transparent so it can move. It can change and transform. There we can get to the bottom of who we actually really are once the energy is actually cleared out. That's what reveals the real you, the soul, the organic self coming through. You got to get all the top layers of mud off. You got to rinse it off. And that's a process. It's not an overnight thing. It's a continual everyday discipline. Choosing who and what you are every single day and moving in that direction. That's what changes everything. Your physical body, your emotions, your everything, your mental capacities, all of it. Your energetic channels, opening them wide open, the expansion, the higher self-embodiment, all of that steamrolls. After you just being consistent like that every day is, what is your choice? What's your purpose? What are you going to do now at this point with this awareness? Knowing that God is a woman, she's been here on this planet, she's now physically ascended. This is the planetary process we are in right now. Global ascension. Humanity is moving on. So being aware of that, what are you going to do? Is it still 9 to 5 tomorrow? Is it still like planning for 5 years? Is it still 401k? Is it still, planning for that cruise in 20 years? Like, what is the goal now? Has any of that changed? Have you looked at any of that? Did you receive a bunch of amazing out of this world information and awareness, but then tomorrow when you wake up, you're going to go right back to doing the same thing? You have to get to the point, it's like, what are you doing? Are you going to wake up? Are you going to snap out of it? Are you going to realize this is so real and my choices are the full thing riding on this? So what are you going to do? There has got to be some kind of change. I'm not saying wake up and quit your job tomorrow. If that's what you feel to do, then follow your heart. However, we're not sitting there trying to make ourselves into a worse situation. We're not trying to get into more pain and suffering or trying to pull the rug out from under ourselves before we understand what's happening. I'm not trying to say you have to go that drastic, but however, you do have to make some kind of change to where you start looking at these things that you keep perpetuating every day that are not allowing you to expand, to grow, to mature, to understand, and to be able to trust and have faith in things that you don't, that you're not familiar with. The great unknown, the love, mom's plan, where we are moving, with the changes that are coming. And there's so many things you just have to let go, and you're not going to know. You're not going to know what's happening. You're not going to know how it's going to look, how it's going to turn out. And you have to be okay with that. And everything in you that says, no, I'm not okay, that's what you have to look at. Because that's our design. We are beings of faith, of trust, of being able to pioneer the great unknown solely out of love, being our compass. That's what we are. We are a reflection of God herself. So, these weaknesses, these childish complaints where you're like, well, I can't do that, that's hard, or it's like, no, it's scary, you still got to do it. And wherever you are with it, that's how far you have to go too. Passengers, I love you all. Aaron Tunka? I think I've seen you before, so welcome. Come tell me how to seize one power again. No, we're not seizing any power. You have your own empowerment. So there's nothing you're going to take outside yourself from an external to make it your own. Everything is already given by God. That was from the beginning since creation itself. So you have it all within your genes and your DNA. You just got to wake up and accept it. All programming to keep one in the village. True. Yep, that's true. James Ford, that's what the conditioning, the program of the planet does. It's just to keep you inside the village. It's like the program and all that. It scares you. It tells you what the outside looks like, what's gonna happen if you go out there, and all these different things. So then everyone just is just content. That's what it comes down to. They're not happy. They're just more content, staying in a more controlled, familiar environment that they can expect and predict every single day, versus stepping out into the unknown. Something they've maybe never experienced or it's unfamiliar. That right there is like, not my cup of tea. I don't know if I can do it. They need 20, 30, 40, 60 people to do it already before them. And then they're going to look at the reviews online. It's like, oh, well, some people had a good time. Some people kind of didn't make it back. It's like, that's the kind of thing we've gotten into now, where it's like people don't want to try things, and they definitely don't want to be the first one. So they'd rather sit there and let a lot of other people go through the process first. They'll sit back and wait around, and then they'll sit there and check reviews. They're like, oh, let's see what everyone went through. And then they're going to decide for themselves, based off all these reviews, what their experience is going to be and whether they'll do it. Ain't that how this is so dumb? It's retarded, right? All this extra work, right? And then ultimately at the end, you give your power to all these other people who went through the experience, because you're letting them choose for you if it's something you want to go through. That's they're not you, one. They're not wearing your shoes. They're not in your life story. They're not going through what you're going through. So why in the world would we ever just give all that power away to someone else who went through the experience? Were they going to go through the same way you would? No. They have the same thought process going through it like you did? No. They're going to feel the same thing in the same way how you went through it? No. It's all unique. It's all different, right? So why are we going to base our own experience off other people if it's not even going to be the same anyway? Right? It's retarded. And then we get displaced. We get so pushed outside ourselves and externalization, we don't even know what we want. We don't know what our goals are, what our dreams are, our wishes are, our intentions are. We don't know what our intentions are. And the intentions are what start everything. And so if you don't know what your intention is, you're a bullet just flying wildly through the air in no direction at all, just hoping to make a hit. And what's that going to serve for you? What if you don't make it? What if you don't hit home? You got to figure that out now when you get there. And it's probably going to be a panic situation, anxiety, stress, pill popping. Got to obsess, got to addict to something. Got to escape, deny, bypass, go into fantasy. You see, it causes and creates all these different things because you don't want it to begin with, but you're not even willing to put the right effort and the energy and the intention in to begin with when you start out. So it's almost like this angry child that's just flaunting, is just throwing energy in just random directions. Not even caring if it even makes a target. Hits home at anything, just not even caring, just giving up, right? It's a tantrum. That's where most of humanity is at, throwing tantrums every day. Upset with the world, pissed off about their life and everything going on, wanting someone just to fix it all. But if you really ask somebody, it's like, okay, well, this is what you got to do it. Ain't nobody gonna step up to that line. Nope. They're gonna shut up. They're gonna back out. Like, well, I gotta go do this, and I gotta make this appointment and everything. They want to complain. They want to talk. about the problems all day long. However, when it comes to lifting a finger to apply yourself, to fix the situation for yourself, find the solution, to heal, to ask for some, help, support, no. They are nowhere near that base because they don't care. Their true intention is really not to fix the situation. They're thriving off of the suffering, the attention, the sympathy they get, all these different things, because they think that's what sustains them now. They're so lost in it and attached to the identity of the suffering that they've tried to make a life out of it. How do I get comfortable with this? How do I sustain myself and manage myself with this now? And they make a persona out of it. It's not even them. They make a life theme out of it. And it's like, I don't know how people get joy out of that at all. It's not real joy. It's just, I'm not sure what people see with that, But that energy is what, it causes people to move massively into projection, I feel, on a lot of levels. Because, hear me out on this. So, when we get so far ourselves, right, and then we externalize on everything else, we no longer know what our choice and purpose is. So if we don't know what that choice and purpose is, then it's blending into the collective's choice and purpose. But if the collective's choice and purpose is in pure dysfunction right now as a collective whole, that means your choice and purpose is dysfunctional because it's based off the whole. Therefore, it's like literally sabotage all around, right? It's like it's not even the monkey in the middle thing. It's like literally like, I don't even know how to express it. It's just, that's how dysfunctional it is. It's completely just, it's far out there, man. And we really gotta learn how just to pull our energy back and feel ourself. That's what it's gonna really take, is centering yourself in your heart. Feel your energy. Don't be distracted. Don't be focused on looking at everybody else. No, feel your energy. What's going on here? Oh, but this is no. What's going on here? Bring attention back to here. Pull energy back to here. Focus back to here. What's going on here? That's how you start to get that gauge of what's your energy and what's other people's energy, right? Because if you are not even there with that, you're blending into everything. You're just attaching to everything. You're identifying with everything. You're saying, "Oh, this is your energy," or you're just projecting it. You're denying it. So then it's everybody else's energy. It's never you. You see how that works? It could be either or, but until you figure out what your energy is, you'll never know. And then everything else that everyone tells you is manipulation, deception, because it's coming from other sources. It allows you to be manipulated. It allows you to be misled because you're not willing to actually face the truth yourself and find out through your own physical body that you have just like everybody else has. And you're relying so much in a codependency type of way off of other people's experiences, trying to piggyback off other people's experience, using other people's experiences as a surrogate because you won't go through the experience and live it. That's deep, yo. But it's so true. That's what a lot of people are doing right now. And that's why everyone's so confused. I love you, Jana. Love you, James Ford. Jamil, welcome, brother, from Australia. Love you. Jan Rob from Australia as well. Beautiful. Welcome. Brendan. I don't usually look at the comments because they never show up for me, but they just since yesterday started showing up on the phone when I do the live. So now I'm able to look at more comments than it was just showing me 5 comments every time I was doing streams. I would never see the long list. I had to let go of that trigger and just let love handle the details, not get triggered and mad. But I'm grateful to finally see more people's comments during the actual thing. So thank you, Mom. Freya, hello friends. I hope everyone is having an amazing day filled with love, light, laughter, and gratitude. Bobby! Love you, Bobby. Much love and hugs to you, Bobby. Brendan, who's the girl in the thumbnail? Are you referring to Mom? Mama? That's the only girl in the thumbnail. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Bobby, right? Humanity expects God to do it for them. She's done playing that game. Absolutely, mom is like, she's like, nope. She flipped that burger patty a long time ago. It's your turn now. Jessica Strickland, hello. As it is, so it will be. It's a distraction from the bigger picture and purpose. Exactly. That's what the collective scheme is all about. Is to distract you completely from the main surface purpose. The bigger picture, really. It's not even a surface purpose. It's the whole picture. It's the whole freaking reason why we're even here. It's the purpose why you're still living and breathing in this body right now, and this crazy scenario is still playing on. Is because the whole bigger picture that we are arriving to, that's what they don't want you to pay attention to look at, to be plugged into, to have an awareness every single day where you are on that path and moving towards that direction. So, serious saboteurs and a lot of different foul play, we'll call it. A lot of foul play. You know what? I can go over to YouTube too, and I can find probably, if there is any comments, I'm not sure. It never really showed before. And there's another thing too that I just wanted to point out as well with like the point with the collective with the left wing, you know, and there's a big block with accepting higher expansion, higher awareness, you know, and that solely does come from the fear of the unknown. Anything that's not familiar, that you didn't teach yourself or has been taught to you already, it's an automatic bypass for most of humanity. They automatically dismiss it because they don't know it. This is one of the big things that mom kept telling everybody as well. You're going to have to let go of everything you know. This is the first thing she said to us when we arrived on mission, every single one of us. Don't matter what you learned, doesn't matter what you've mastered in 3D, let everything go. It no longer serves you, right? And it's not to say that everything you did in life was pointless. There's no purpose to it. However, where you are at now in this moment, you have evolved, you have grown. So therefore, the things you're attaching to from 5, 10, 20 years ago, that was probably highest at that moment. You tried to make a thing out of it, and it wasn't supposed to be a thing. It was just supposed to be a process, a temporary moment, you know, and that was it, an experience. You made it a thing, and then you went years and years and years doing the same thing, thinking that was your thing. It's not, right? And that's why mom's like, let it all go. It does not matter, because the truth is always going to stay. It's always going to come back. So the fear in really letting go of it all, and if you won't do it, is because you don't trust really, truly what you've received, what you've taught yourself, what you've allowed other people to tell you and teach you. You don't trust how much of that will actually stay. There's a fear of being wrong. There's a fear of like having to do it all over again because you've been seriously misled, right? And it probably is true to a certain extent. That's probably why you feel the energy coming up, because you already are aware. You've been holding on to a lot of things that no longer even, they're not necessary. They never were really from the beginning. So how are we supposed to reconcile this with ourselves? It's like going to the principal's office with your own self. And you're like, okay, shit, like I fucked up. I made some choices, and I probably was aware of it a long moment ago, and it's taken me this long to get around to actually facing it. You know, it's kind of like you have to face yourself. You have to face the truth and be real. And like, all right, let's just get this out the way. Let's just clear it. Let's go through it. Let's look at it. What is going on? Why do I feel this way? Why am I triggered? Why is it affecting me this way? If you're not even asking yourself those questions, if you're not even focused on looking at that, you're not helping yourself. You're not showing up for yourself. You're not allowing the process to help you move to a higher truth and idea, because you got to look at it to get a different idea. It's not going to just pop there and be like, oh, well, yeah, all right, cool, moving and grooving. No, you have to stop. Be present and observe and be able to go through this process with yourself and walk through the process. Or else you're going to go through the whole thing over again and again and again. Because once you understand the process, it dissolves and falls away. You no longer need that lesson. You no longer need that experience to grow. So therefore, new ones will come in. But if you're not really plugging into the ones you are in now, that's why they constantly reoccur and keep happening over and over and over again. Because you don't get off the hook, right? like Bobby was saying too, the mom, humanity wants God to do all the work, and like God's not playing that game anymore. It's a very old, played out game, and it never brought mom joy, and mom's not a savior. Okay, she's not a martyr either. Definitely, she took on a lot of shit, but she's not your martyr. Okay,
coming soon.
So she's definitely there. Mom left. She physically ascended for a reason. And that's why she also did all the work she needed to do before she left too, because there is those lessons for, her children, all of us, that we have to get. We have to understand the responsibility and accountability we have as gods with God, that we are not these rampant atoms just running through life, making a bunch of stupid choices, right? Because to be God with God, like, let's just look at that, the concept of being a God, like, that would be a very destructive, chaotic experience. A world full of gods that are just shooting a bunch of energy back and forth around, being very cruel and ugly to each other. You imagine what kind of experience that would have caused the world? Thank God mom shut everything off. Thank God mom turned all of our abilities and powers off. Thank God. Like people want to sit here bitter that they can't fly right now. But like, well, if we could fly right now, we could do all that stuff. We'd be in a deeper mess so fast tomorrow than you could ever believe. Because now humanity just has a whole arsenal, a big, huge board of buttons now in front of them that they can press in dysfunction and ego just to get back at each other, just to fuck more shit up, just to take from each other, just to be the best, whatever. You see, it's just going to make the dysfunction even more amplified the more God gives. Because we haven't learned the main lesson already, just to stop doing it. It's not love. It doesn't serve anyone. It hurts you. It hurts them. It hurts mom. It hurts this planet. And until you get that, and that's a valid integrity and something you're going to honor and respect moving forward, don't worry about all the flying around and shooting fire and all this. It's not coming. She's not going to give that until you can learn to be responsible with your thoughts, your energy, with your choice, and you have that solid intention inside. Because if you don't, other people can get hurt. Mom doesn't want you to go through that experience of just hurting other people. No. Right? So this is how mom, she supports and nurtures a collective 8 billion people, children, that have to learn in baby steps how to be gods again with her. Right? And it's a beautiful journey. However, there's a lot on the table. A lot of responsibility and accountability on the table that has not been claimed yet by billions of people. It has not been looked at. It has not been, even felt into, right? Definitely with more empowerment, with more, awareness of what's going on with the world, humanity they're going to understand, by them not stepping up and being accountable, responsible, they are now responsible and accountable for a world that has fallen into pain and suffering. That's what happens to a planet of non-accountable, non-responsible beings. They are now responsible for the opposite effect of that. This is what it breeds. This is what happens in life when you are not responsible. This is what happens to children. This is what happens to women. This is what happens to families when you are not accountable for your actions and your thoughts. This is what can happen. And so humanity living through that experience, that very real reality right now, they are going to get to a point where they realize, like, holy shit, like somebody's got to grab the reins in this thing because we are headed to a very fucked situation. I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't see what's coming out of the tunnels right now. What? Are you kidding me? How do we even get to this point? Someone's got to stand up and be more responsible. Say the things no one's going to say. Do the things that everyone's sitting there waiting around for everybody else to do first. Someone's got to do it, right? And one by one, more people are going to get motivated, be inspired. They're going to feel that call in their heart. They're like, you know what? You're right. I'm not going to sit here and just live in this. I'm going to help change it. Because it's fucked. I should have never even allowed to get this far. And everybody equally has that responsibility and accountability. There's a major part of our life where we just unplug and we're like, you know what? The world is what it is. If it's going to burn, let it burn. I'll go down in fireworks. YOLO. You only live once, right? It's like, that's the stupid things we came up with just to accept, the apocalyptic time we really were sitting in on the timeline of how fast everything was speeding in the wrong direction. We were just like, you know what? It's already going so fast. Things are already so fucked. I'm just going to make I'm gonna be content. I'm gonna figure out how just to be content along the way, and just, what it is, what it is. That's no inspiration. That's not being in love with life. It's not being appreciative of yourself or anything that you can do, that you have lived through, that you have anything or anyone that you've loved. It's completely devoid of all of that, right? And that just shows people who are very just disassociated and they don't want to be here. And there's no blame. No one's saying that like that's wrong to feel that way. There's a lot of people on this mission for years. It's like, you know what? Just kill me. Just recycle me. Right? It's like, I don't have to be here. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't have to be here. If you want to sign me up, if there's an open list, like I am volunteering, it's along the lines of that. It's okay. You're being real. You're being transparent. Maybe today, I feel like dying. Maybe today, I just want the whole planet to get hit by billions of meteorites just to take everybody out so we can just move past this. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, why would you say that? It's like, no, it's real. Like, do you see how fucked up this planet is? Does it make you happy? Does it get under your skin? Just where everything's at? It's like, look, that's got to stir something up in you. You either want to be here and live in this forever, or you're like, at some point you're just like, you know what? Take me out. Like, pull me up, ascend me, something. Like, I'll do whatever at this point. Just make something happen, please. I need a shift of view, a shift of scenery from this whole planet that's been constantly just dying off, right? So it's really that level of transparency and how much trust you have in yourself, where you can say those words. You can express that true authenticity of yourself and know, like, oh, that doesn't mean I mean it. Doesn't mean I want that to happen. Doesn't mean that I'm going to go do it right now because I just said those words. No. This is like, it's an energy coming through. Just express it. And most of the time, that's what clears it. It's like, okay, yeah, 5 minutes ago, I probably felt like dying, but now I don't. Because I said it out loud, right? And it changes, it shifts, right? The more in denial, the more we try to play this prudish, like nonchalant, like, oh, well, no, like, I don't do that, I won't say that, like, that's a bad word. Like, the more of these, like, boundaries and limitations and rules you sit there and put on yourself, you're gonna snap at some point. It's gonna be like an insane, impulsive, like, snap within you, because the energy building, it needs to be expressed and released. And if you're gonna suppress more and push down more to bypass that, you're gonna cause a very, very interesting pop to happen. And we've seen it enough times in the field and in our experiences over the years, just with different beings, and it's a very real experience that the physical body is just gonna push for at some point. If it notices you are mentally, if your ego mind is so at work that your body is aware you are bypassing it continuously, it's just gonna automatically do the process itself, right? And those are the things that'll catch you off guard. It might be like the littlest trigger you've ever had in your life, yet that was just enough to cause the whole chain reaction just to go off of everything that's been building for that month, that year, or your whole life, whatever it is. It's going to get to that point, and it's okay if that's the kind of experience you need. A lot of us don't even know what's going on. We don't know how to make a choice. And that's a very real experience for a lot of people who have been so disempowered, in humanity. They don't know how to speak up for themselves. They don't know how to trust anything of their own thoughts, their own thing. They're so scared of that. They need someone else to tell them, because they just simply don't know, and they can't trust, their own feeling, their own intuition, discernment on it. They've disassociated and coexisted so much in like a codependency on just people in general, just to help them live their life, and that was never the design, and you can almost say in the same way, by living that way, you create more fear on top of that, because you've gotten so used to in the behavioral pattern of relying and codepending on other people, that the moments that come for you to expand and have to do it yourself, have to step up yourself, trust your own discernment, trust your own heart, even though everything else says no externally, it's going to be more of a scary situation, more of like of a crazy ride, because now it's like you waited too long. You waited so long to finally trust yourself. Now that this is on your lap, it's not moving. It's like, what are you going to do now? You still got to go through the same process. You still have to claim your empowerment back. You still have to claim your voice back. You don't get a choice in this, because divinity is divinity, and there's only divinity. There's nothing that's like a sub divinity. There's no like partial divinity. No, it's divinity. And empowerment, courage, commitment, integrity, honor, respect, all these different things, they're all divinity. Therefore, they're traits that every single being on this planet with a soul has in the higher. Therefore, you are going to have the experiences that are going to push you to know this for yourself. Therefore, you can utilize this. You can apply this in yourself and live. Not rely on someone else to be that physical representation for you, because you can't find it in yourself. That's a disservice. That's what steals your own joy, steals your power, steals your own energy away from you. What are you going to co-create with God if you're worried about other people helping you to co-create with her? It's like, that doesn't work that way. You can't use other people's energy so that you can make something. No, that's why you are here. You can generate your own energy. You can expand your own energy. You can grow your own energy without having to take from energy outside yourself. Everything is designed efficiently in creation in heaven. It's already designed in the blueprint like that. So any kind of lack, any kind of depletion, it's because it's not balanced. It has to be flipped. It has to have a higher idea and truth in yourself where you can find the balance and harmony again. And you can move back into that groove where there's no lack. Therefore, there's no overcompensation. There's no trying to prove anything anymore, because you found the balance, right? So we love you all. Definitely. There's a lot of things going on right now. We have, I feel like the Crystal School workshops. Those are every weekend still. Those are still going on. So beings that want to get involved with that, I highly encourage you to do so. And especially people with ideas, just to share ideas. You have a lot of ideas about, children, people who have their own children, people who do homeschooling, any kind of creative ideas, or just things that you've done at home as projects, or different craft ideas. And stuff. Like, those are all the different things that definitely this will be more of a collective group thing if more people involve themselves, and just send it along, share how we can create a more fun environment for the children, a more expansive learning space, and just include more things. As much as we can, the better. Literally the curriculums are very far out there. They're amazing. They have so much stuff in them, and it's the fact that we keep coming out with new ones like every month. I'm spun sometimes by that. I was like, they don't even do this for children in schools. You look at school curriculums, and it looks like crap. Literally, they're not really teaching you anything. They're just biding time. They're stalling you and just filling your head with just a bunch of dysfunctional crap like a robot. Whereas these curriculums, they are so creatively put together and so beautiful, and there's so much love put into them. And there's sometimes I get teary-eyed because I really wish that was the experience for children back when I was a child in the 90s. We got to play outside and do all those different things that children don't even do now. There's so much fear in the world now, where that wasn't for me, and even still I could see how much more beneficial that would have been for children, if that was the experience, so definitely the first transitional government that is popping off quite a bit. There's a lot of people applying, and definitely anyone who has any kind of skills, abilities, trade, any kind of ability in, what do they call it? Trade something. I don't know. Trade skill. Skill trade. Thank you. I was like, it's something. It's the other way around. Skill trade. And any kind of things that you've taught yourself, even with school degrees, people who went to school and they technology or anything like that, definitely hit us up. Let us know what you're interested in and what you'd like to get involved with. And it definitely is. It's not just like a hobby. It's not like a groupie thing. It really is this is intended to be, the start of that whole process where, beings mature children literally come together and realize, okay, this is it. Someone's got to lead, and this is it. This is us. We got to make that step forward and start putting the energy, pushing it out. And we have a massive. Group meeting on the 9/9 portal, so that's coming up soon. So definitely anybody Anybody else who would love to get involved, would like to, and this will, I'll actually share this too, because this will help a lot of people with that are having to learn to let a lot of things go, or learn how to like transform. They're like, well, what do I do now? Or like, well, what kind of process am I supposed to put in place? This is a good process. Okay, getting involved in one of these groups and learn and just like investing yourself, your energy into working with that, because it's for mom, it's for missions, for the ascension of the physical planet. This is for where crystal schools and everything, where humanity is going to be assisted the most, the greatest. And so there's a lot of preparation that goes into this. There's a lot of learning how our roles are really going to work as we are stepping into them before the audience comes that the roles are meant for, right? So this is all the beginning stages of that. There's no one's going to be like a pro at it. No one's going to have everything down to a T. There's a lot of things you're going to have to learn. And that's okay. And it's awesome that everyone starts off at the same moment, Everyone's going to learn and build together, support each other, learn how to work together better. That's one of my things. It was like I'm wonderful with self-efficiency, but however, when it comes to working with other people, that's where I have a lot of my biggest challenges, So I'm doing this thing too. Everyone, it's going to help transform so much. And you're doing it for love. You're doing it for mom. You're doing it for the betterment of humanity and the expansion of everything, that we're moving to 5D, right? This is the way. There's so much crap about what's going wrong in the world. How about we just flip it all over here to this and focus on what's really coming in, the solution that we are pushing, to flip it all. So definitely that will be an awesome practice and process for everybody, just, giving you something else to focus on that's higher vibrational, new ideas and creativity that can flow through you, where you can push it through these outlets. It will change your day. You'll create a different routine, a different process for you, where it's not the same thing every day. This is new energy, new elements that can come into your day and it can shift everything for you, right? And the newness, that helps. That's what excites the child. New, curious things where the child's like, oh, what's that? Or what's this? Well, let's try this out. Let's see what happens with this. That's what builds the excitement, the interestingness in it all. When everything's bland and boring and dull and you're disappointed and you're just like depressed, you're not doing anything for your inner child. You're not helping yourself feel alive, right? So, definitely inviting new things to your experience will help out so much. And definitely the sessions right now are 50% off, so that's for a limited time right now. And everybody, like, there's so many different sessions on that we have like co-created with mom over the years, and there's a lot of them on there, very interesting sessions. So if you are not a usual sessioner, definitely get on there and look at a couple different sessions that, for yourself, that you feel will be highest, that will benefit you, because maybe all the getting stuck, the stalling out, finding yourself in all these different holes is because you're not trying anything new, right? So whenever we get new awarenesses, whenever we get a new perspective, that helps clear a lot of things, and we know what to do next, right? A lot of times you're just fighting. You're trying to, shift the same ideas, the same thoughts around, the same ones you've been using the whole time, and that's why we feel stuck. It's not working because you're trying to apply the same stuff over and over again. So the sessions are massive boosters, really a huge catalyst that brings a bunch of fresh energy, new awareness, new perspective from, where you are in the present moment, what's going on, and how to really move in that direction towards harmony and balance. So definitely 50% off, definitely take advantage of that. Don't take advantage of that. Receive that. Thank you, angels. Definitely receive that in the highest gratitude, and, give that to yourself. And that's what we talk about with self-love. Self-love is not just like putting some beautiful body butter on and going to sit in the sun. No, it's a lot more than that. It's about making the choices that are going to help you get better. It's going to help you get stronger, right? To where we can stop giving our power to other people. We can just be our own confident, strong self in our own empowerment. So, the choices as far as like sessions, that's self-love. That's giving yourself the awareness about your energetics, what's going on with you, your choices you're making that probably just need to be shifted around. And bounce that off somebody, the angels, and the team, and just be able to voice things that you probably don't even say out loud to anybody else. Things that people, if you said out loud, they probably look at you crazy, like, okay, somebody's on the way to the asylum. This gives you that awesome space where you can say all those crazy things that they're not crazy, but out there they're crazy to those people, right? So, really help yourself out. Put yourself in the space where you can really receive the most support and benefit from it, and really expand the most and heal, right? This thing can move as fast as you allow it. But if you're going to make it the long, hard road journey, no one's stopping you, but definitely don't sit over there on the sidelines with a sign, a pity me sign, like complaining about the whole time, because you have the power to change it. You totally are empowered to change it. So no more sideline critics, no more sideline pity party people. No, put the signs down. Let's get the feet moving and make some choices. And therefore, everyone's going to start feeling better, right? And there's a special energy that happens when you put your energy forward and you push it, and then you see the change and you are aware that happened because you made the choice. It's like a special empowerment that comes back to you where you're like, I did that. I didn't need someone else to do it for me. I did that. And it was like, it's true. And you can do it again and again and again, and you can feel better about it again and again and again. It'll never stop. That's what happens when you start to really restore your own power, your own co-creativity with God, and stop relying on everyone else to give it to you. You can do it too. You are special and unique. You are beautiful and strong. That's why you're here. That's why everybody is here. Nothing is a waste of energy. God never wastes energy at all. Everything's completely intentional of what is happening right now for the highest purpose and grandest realization of 5D, New Earth, where we're headed, So definitely feel that in your heart, receive that, and sit with that for moments and really feel into yourself. You definitely are undervaluing yourself so much. Everybody on this planet, unworthiness, undervaluing ourselves, the things we have done, the accomplishments we have, achieved, the successes we have had. Once we got it, everything got better again. It wasn't everything we thought it was going to be. Why? Because you still have all these other expectations and things. You never let yourself actually have a moment, actually receive the appreciation in that moment, because you're so busy trying to spoil it already. Oh, well, this isn't right, and this is out of place, and this looks like this or that and that. It's like you can't ever appreciate anything, can you? You want yourself to be unhappy. You really want yourself to be miserable, just to have drama, just to say that you have drama. And why do you deserve that? Why would you want that? Nobody does. Truly, honestly, nobody does. There's just a lot of people that think that that's just the straw that they picked from God, and somehow God's like, yep, life fucked up. There you go for it. It's like, no, totally your choice again. It's where we project and blame on mom and say, well, you did this to me. Well, you put me down here. You gave me this life. It's like, no, she got you through the door. She popped you out of the vagina. That was about it. Everything else is on you. They ain't gonna put that on her. She came down to save your butt, and you're still down here throwing tantrums and being ungrateful. So there's a lot to look at for humanity, and even the people who have been following mom for long moments. It's a wild ride, and nothing is exempt at all. It's all up for reflection. It's all up for change and shifting and transformation. And the quicker people realize and accept that, the easier it will be to go through the process, to let go and go with the flow. Because we don't know what it's going to turn into. We don't know what it's supposed to be like. And that's part of our trust and surrender in the unknown. What we don't, quite understand fully, it's not familiar to us. And that's okay, because we trust love. And love is going to see us through the whole way. Love is going to support us. Love is going to lift us to the highest vibration. Love is the way to the highest timeline. So as long as we stay in love and we trust love to guide us through it, it doesn't matter really what's going to happen. It doesn't matter how it's going to happen or how it's going to look at all. There's no fear in that. We absolutely don't care. We don't care how it looks, because we know love is going to be the highest way. That's our faith. Do you see and feel how free that feels to even say that? Automatically bypasses all the belief systems, all the attachments, all the fears, anxieties people have, from religion, from a life of pain and suffering, suppression, depravity, poverty consciousness, victim consciousness, all that stuff. It bypasses all that and it's like, nope, no room for fear. We don't have time for it. Love's got us, and everything else is left to love's will handle the details. Everything else is left to love. We don't have to figure that out. We don't have to know that now for us to surrender, for us to trust that we're going to arrive in love, right? Because to say that means we actually fear. We don't trust. We don't feel God's really pulling her weight for us. We feel like we're going to get sabotaged. We're going to get left in the dust. Well, that's probably your own energy you're projecting onto God. That's the way you treat yourself. It's how you leave yourself in the dust every single time. It's how you feel. But you haven't accepted that, so therefore now it's God's fault, right? So, big concepts, yet so simple, and it definitely is the way out of a lot of pain and suffering of beings just realize they've been playing a game. Everyone's been playing a game with themselves. It's time just to call it completely. Blow the whistle. Let's have a break. Let's look at things, because to continue down this road anymore, it just borderlines on more insanity. And we already feel that crazy already, most of us, so give yourself a break. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle. It doesn't have to be this whip thing. You keep hitting your back and just trying to expect results out of yourself and produce things. It's like you don't even know yourself yet. You don't even know what energy you're working with inside because you haven't taken the moments to actually reflect and look at it, but yet you're constantly trying to drill like this body like a pack mule to get somewhere. That's not being kind. It's not being compassionate with yourself or what you need to go through still as a physical process. What's going on in your cells, in your atoms, your DNA, in your body, everything that's flushing out from your body and it's moving around. That's not even regarding that either. There's so many different layers to yourself that are changing, both internally and on the surface too, that if you're not paying attention to that, you're missing out on so much. And that's what's going to make your journey longer, because a lot of the discernments, the intuition, the sensitivities that come through, the processes, what your body can do, the awareness you can receive and understand and feel, all that is part of your strength. It's your divine gifts, your divine abilities. And no one can really, there's a lot of people that can teach you in a lot of ways and show you how to do it, but no one's going to be able to really, master that but you. Because everyone's energetics are unique. They're different. So, of course, it's going to work differently for everyone in some way, And that's where the creativity comes from. It's where the inner child gets to play and experiment. And there's no rules. And there's no rules, then what are you afraid of, right? Supply it. Just to see what happens. Have fun with it. Trust in love. Have faith in love. That's all guided out of love. Make love your intention. Therefore, no matter how you experiment, if it's all based on love, you don't have to worry about it. It's all grand. It's all beautiful. It's all for the highest, right? And that's where we just have to leave it. Just leave it right there in the highest positive, enthusiastic perspective, and stop trying to drag it back down to low into fear, what if, anxiety, no, just stop it. Allow it to be a higher perspective and truth to you, and just leave it there, okay? And see what happens. See what happens for yourself if you are not focused on all the lower things. Just allow yourself just to be in that moment of love, in that present space, and trust Mom that she is already planning it all out. The experiences, everything is working exactly how she wants you to see it and go through the experience. So if she's got you and you're going to step out the way, that's the highest right there. That's where the highest acceleration can happen. The greatest shifts and changes can happen because you're really showing, all right, Mom, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know shit. I trust you. You're not going to abandon or leave me here. So I'm getting out your way, and just whatever is highest, I surrender. And that right there brings Mom the highest joy. Just surrendering, okay? Because she's already got a script, and she needs you to participate. It's a role play, right? But if you're so focused on trying to please everybody else and do everything for everyone else outside yourself, you're not focused on your role, on your script, which means you're not participating in Mom's game. And if you're not going to participate, God very much dislikes that. You must participate, okay? Therefore, we have to be focused on ourselves so we know our roles and the energetics we are working with, not what everybody else is working with. Therefore, we can be more efficient in ourselves, right? That's how we become a master. That's how we guide ourselves. That's how we go step by step through the process. And we carry ourselves because you are empowered to do that by God. All right. I love you all. Definitely, we will see you tomorrow. I feel it's Cat and L. I feel tomorrow. I feel they are, yes, tomorrow for Sunday. So Cat and L will be here tomorrow at 6 a.m. Mountain Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Time for live stream. And yeah, definitely look online, look at all the different sessions. I really encourage everyone in these moments to really receive that blessing in abundance. Definitely, if you haven't had a session for a very long time, it's probably the highest to get a session in these moments. And, definitely 50% off. Who can argue with that? Definitely don't have the excuse later when you're like, oh, well, I just don't have enough money. Well, mom just opened a massive door for you, so you're going to jump on that or not? It's up to you. It's your choice. No one's rushing you, but it is for a limited time. We love you all. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow. All right.